And moving on to this, a new report suggests at least 36 Secret Service agents are seeking an investigation into President Biden's DEI policies, citing these policies are creating a national security threat. One America's Monica Page has the details.
Recent reports suggest at least 39 Secret Service agents have signed a petition calling for a congressional investigation into whether the Biden administration's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies are undercutting the agency's ability to carry out and perform its core mission. This recent development comes after reports of a female Secret Service agent assigned to Vice President Kamala Harris's security detail suffered a breakdown and initiated a physical confrontation with her commanding agent just last month. Now, some are wondering whether that specific hire was part of a DEI push in response to its recent short staffing issues, and in turn have lowered standards and professionalism to reach quotas. I want to bring in senior fellow at the Center for Renewing America and FBI whistleblower Steve Friend. Steve, thank you so much for joining us here. Since this petition was filed, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan has now opened an inquiry into the Biden FBI's DEI hiring standards. So if this instance is proven to be true, what does this practice say about this administration? And more importantly, what does it say about the state of our national security?
There's no question that our national security is being put at risk by this pushing forward of the DEI that we're seeing around not just the Secret Service, but federal law enforcement in general. I can tell you that the FBI's core values were adjusted in 2020. And at that point, they made diversity higher up on the level of core values than rigorous obedience to the Constitution. So it's just seeing this incident happen with the Secret Service on the vice president's protective detail. This is a harbinger for what can actually go wrong. And I'm thankful that nothing got beyond that. But this is one person who's a heartbeat away from the presidency, and her safety could have been at risk.
Right. This is just one instance. This is just one person that we know of. And Steve, I want to pivot to this as well. The FBI's retaliation against whistleblowers is seemingly now this ongoing issue, suspending their security clearances for more than a year, despite top bureau officials denying this happening. So, Steve, what are the risks associated with suspending whistleblower security clearances?
This has been known to me and to the other suspended whistleblowers. This is the hack that the FBI has used to circumvent whistleblower protection. And look, you are trained when you're an FBI employee, not just an agent, to come forward with legitimate concerns about waste, fraud, abuse, or risks to the public safety. But if you're not towing the line with the politicized FBI sees as fit, they will use whatever levers that they can. And that, for them, is the security clearance. They suspend the security clearance, escort you out the building, put you in purgatory because you're unpaid and indefinitely suspended while they investigate you for years on end. Your national security is supposed to be held by someone of integrity, and coming forward should be indicative of someone who holds that close to them.
Absolutely. And according to data now obtained by the Inspector General's office, these reports indicate the FBI's failures have abandoned at least 106 agents for an average of almost 18 months each. Is this treatment politically motivated, and what would need to be done to overhaul the organization to prevent anything like this to ever happen again?
Well, I think you need to go through major overhaul if you're not going to completely reform the FBI writ large. But when it comes to actually whistleblowers facing punitive action regarding the security clearance, there needs to be a quicker way for them to actually file a complaint. Even in this IG report, they suggest a 12-month span elapse before the whistleblower can then come forward with the complaint. That's a year of unpaid indefinite suspension for someone. This needs to be vastly shortened down, and there needs to be the ability for these people to work in some other capacity. They could be removed from what they're working on specifically and do something else.
And Steve, before we go, are you optimistic about the future of the FBI, given that Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan is now taking this up? Or what are you most concerned about moving forward?
I'm very concerned about the politicization that we're seeing with the FBI, and that's nothing new. I think, though, that there needs to be an appetite to think outside the box. There's a concern within Washington, D.C., especially amongst Republicans, to be perceived as defunding the police if they actually defunded the FBI. So, look, I've proposed a middle ground here, and the middle ground to me would be to disarm the FBI, make it an unarmed investigatory agency as its origin was, and then force them to partner with local law enforcement. And we could message that as empowering the local magistrate to do what they are directed to do by their citizens. And that is to bring crime down, unlike the FBI likes to do, which is manipulate stats to bring their crime up to justify its budget.
Absolutely. Well said. Steve Friend, senior fellow at the Center for Renewing America and FBI whistleblower, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you.